Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The best time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Hurrdat Media Network.
All right.
I actually just learned what writing dirty meant. I hadn't heard that term until about 2.5 years ago. So Kristyna Engdahl is in studio with us. Do you know what writing dirty means?
Well, I guess I only have a very high-level concept of what it might be, and I think it may not be the actual definition. So I'm very excited to be educated.
What do you think writing dirty means?
What's high-level dirty?
Yeah, what is high-level dirty?
I think what I was imagining was something along the lines of, I don't know, riding in your car without a seatbelt?
That's
high level.
That's high level. I think it involves riding with a piece.
Oh.
Like a gun with a weapon. Riding dirty.
That's
or drugs or something like that. But it's something a little harder than without a seatbelt.
So it doesn't have to be specified whether it's drugs or a piece. It can be either or
Equal
or and. Yeah.
Probably, because usually if you have one, it's usually you have the other. If you're riding with a piece, you probably have drugs or vice versa.
Depends on what you have going on that weekend.
I don't know. Could be an awesome weekend.
Yeah,
but we are riding.
Not just driving and texting.
No, it's not. Or without a seatbelt.
Oh, then I ride dirty all the time. No, I don't.
I think we all ride dirty a little bit. So we are podcasting dirty today because JT had to run out of here super fast before we started recording. Because why?
I got a warning call that they're going to turn my power off again. And you never know for how long. And last time they did, yesterday, it was out of the blue for me. And then when power did come back on, everything was beeping and buzzing and humming, and the dog was confused and the cats were scared. And I was like, God, I won't be able to get in my house though if I don't get in before they turn the power off.
That's right.
And then I was imagining right as I drove up, I'm like, I hit the button, the door went up, and I'm like, this would just be my flipping luck. I pull in and the power goes off and I can't shut the door. But I could pull the cord. I get that now. But at that moment, it freaks
you out.
I was say, what kind of locks do you have on your house? Right. That you have electricity? Do you have like a dungeon door? I don't.
Don't ask her.
Best not to know. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because you don't even think about that usually, because if your garage door's down, you don't have a front door key or a back that you can't get in.
Yep, that's about right.
And do you have a front door key,
Yes.
Kristyna? Okay.
Yeah, I think like most people, except for JT, I guess.
Right. I never use my front door, so to speak, unless somebody, delivery or something like that. But I always go through the garage. I do have one key that is for all of them, and I don't know where it is. So
perfect.
Yeah, they do have locks that are like app enabled, right? And those, it is not their time to shine.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
It's not their time
my God,
to shine.
That would be terrible.
Have you guys had any rolling blackouts in your area?
No,
Kristyna?
I live in Exarban, and my house is all of like 100 square feet. So they're like, you're good.
You're totally fine.
You're fine. You barely use any. You're barely a blip
You guys
on our
are
map.
cute. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for paying
You're
your $20
actually plugged in your neighbor's garage, right?
Precisely. We have a hamster on a wheel, and it gets the job done. You guys, yeah.
That's awesome. So I don't know. Right now, everything's still on, but the reason also we're writing dirty, so to speak, is so I have to do this via my phone instead of my computer.
Oh, ultra
because
dirty.
my computer's going to go off, no doubt. Mm-hmm. Now, I guarantee you, because we didn't use the computer,
you won't. Yeah,
power won't go off
at all.
Yeah, you really need to submit all these like sub definitions of writing dirty. It can be,
Can you help us put that together?
I'll write a proposal. Yes, it can be writing without a seatbelt. It can be writing.
There are levels of dirty.
Yes, exactly. It could be not recording your podcast in the way that you're supposed to.
It's writing dirty,
right? It could be. And I know you were just. Oh, you hear my dog's in the background. He just brought me a squeaky toy.
Mm-hmm. Very generous.
I'm going to take away from him.
Very generous of him.
It is. It's only when I get on the phone because I'm not paying attention to him.
Just like with kids. You were telling a story briefly about your husband being on a Zoom earlier.
Yes.
Was that? This happen today?
This was the other day. He'll be thrilled I'm sharing it too. So he's been working remotely for 9-10 months, and he was presenting on a Zoom meeting when he heard behind him the unmistakable sound of the dog starting to puke. And of course there's like a lead up, right? There's like many kind of like belches before it happens. And he was just frozen. There was nothing he could do except for.
Did anybody on the call? Did anybody on the call call it out?
Not that I'm aware of, and I'm sure if that happened, he would have told me because he would have been adequately mortified. But he was just frozen, knowing that all he could do was sit there and let the dog puke behind him a couple times. It sounds like,
and of course, it has to be in that room.
That room,
yeah,
because the dog really wants to share the experience with him,
right?
Wants him to know what's happening. So I did. I was just saying that I also got him an apology card from the dogs for puking all over the house.
That's sweet.
I know.
The dogs to think about.
Except for we all know they're not sorry.
No. Because when dogs do puke, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, dogs though. Actually, I think they carry around a lot of apologies. Cats don't care.
No, they don't.
The dog usually is looking at you like, "Oh God,
right?
What did I just do?"
Right, just like right now you're working, and the dog's like, "I'm going to squeak this toy behind you."
Jack doesn't care.
Oh yeah, there we go. So
Christyna,
he's into the tips. I can't reach him.
This is your first time out at our studio.
Yes.
So we appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
You and JT had coffee a couple weeks ago.
It was wonderful. I was saying this, you're so tucked back here. It's a great place to do a podcast, or it's a great place to dump a body, I guess.
Why do girls always think that all the time? It's always first a great place to blah, 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 and hide a body.
Do they say that to you a lot, Pat?
A lot. My wife constantly, we go to, her family lives in Colorado, and there's that stretch between the Nebraska border and Denver, where she's pointed out many times where the chances of me ending up are probably pretty high.
So I think she's dropping a hint.
Right? Yeah. A lot of hints. A lot.
Keeps you on your toes, though.
Uh-huh. It does.
She probably doesn't ever put that in writing, though, not in a text message or anything.
That's true.
That can
She
be
doesn't.
Traced. Yeah, she says it to you just in passing.
Yeah. And it's just like you just said it. It's just like, whatever.
Let's pull over and take a picture, Pat.
And bring that shovel.
Next to the cliff.
Can you step back one more step?
One more. A little further. Oh, darn. There you go. But no, it's a great studio, and it's been a lot of fun I said this all to JT, but it's been a lot of fun watching your podcast company grow. Because truly the timing of it was just awful, but perfect because of the chance that a lot of like new podcasters have to tap your insight and your industry experience and to learn how to put on a great radio now podcast show. So
thank you.
It's a wonderful studio, and
thanks.
You guys are always
we appreciate
doing great
it.
stuff. Yeah.
How long has it been since you were you left TV news? How long ago?
3.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Who's counting? Yeah, right. It's been just under 4 years. And at the time, so I work now, of course, over at the Metropolitan Entertainment and Convention Authority, which manages the CHI Health Center, Arena and Convention Center, and TD Ameritrade Ballpark. At the time, that was the only two things we had going on, which was enough. But then I think it was 2 years ago this month, we broke ground at the Riverfront, which is the redevelopment of GeneLeay Mall, Heartland of America Park, and Lewis and Clark Landing. And that's been a really fun endeavor, too, because sure, we have buildings that activate with people coming and going and things going on, but the park spaces are a whole different ball game, pun intended.
Right.
And it's been fun to be a part of that, too, especially in a time when things have been, I don't got to tell you, things have been slow. The fact that that's an outdoor project, it's been able to keep going and stay on time, which is great, because I think when those parks reopen, people will be ready for an exciting new outdoor space.
Gosh, for sure.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. What do you guys have things like planned or you're hopeful for the summer?
I mean,
what
you got to be hopeful. all we have is hope right now. No, and even just this week, we have state wrestling going on, which is the biggest event so far since things shut down in March. But we're also hoping, I think, to get some concerts on the books this summer. Definitely, we have Matchbox 20 and the Wallflowers rescheduled for September. That was back in 2020. That's been moved to, because Matchbox 2020, it was perfect until there was no concerts in 2020. Right. So then it wasn't so perfect. So they moved to 2021, and that'll be a great show. But I think along with the swim trials and the NCAA volleyball tournaments, I think they're hoping to get some exciting concerts.
I was going to say the concert thing is probably the biggest news for most people. Yeah. It seems like that's one thing that comes up on everybody's list. It may not always be at the top, but it's like going to live music and seeing a movie.
Right. And who knew that you'd, miss the chance to sit shoulder to shoulder with 18,000 strangers until suddenly you couldn't do it anymore.
Right? Seriously. You always
know?
complained about that, the person bumping into your back or spilling beer on you.
Sweating
I
on
would
you.
gladly have a sweaty person spill beer on me just to we could be in the same room together.
I would even complain about how much the beer costs.
Right?
Not for a long time. No.
Yeah, listen, you can get a nice buzz going for, $50. Yeah.
$50. Well, nice. Let's go for $50.
Yeah, it's just, you never thought too that, there'd be a time that you're like, gosh, just let me back into a room full of hot people. But, I think we're all craving it. And even, I don't even get the chance to, when I'm at these shows and working them, I don't necessarily have the chance to have a beer in my hand. But there's just something so exciting and electric about event days down at those buildings, because you have all of the event staff there and they're excited, and there's, a bunch of people in the arena trying to build a stage somehow in a matter of hours, and the rush that happens with that, and then sound checks, and we just haven't had that type of...
The energy is just gone.
Yeah, it's just been quiet.
I'm excited to actually, because I haven't been down in the old market, since last summer, probably, with the restaurants being shut down and at half capacity, whatever. Just driving that down there just hasn't happened. So I'm excited to see the progress of, because my last memory of GeneLeay Mall was when it was still a lake there, and it was, so I can't wait to just drive past it and just see how much it's changed. Yeah,
you truly, it looks almost unrecognizable, because to your point, there was the lagoon there, it was sunken in. And without diving too much into it, a lot of the feedback that I think the designers got was that space was unusable. It looked pretty in a picture, but you weren't going to go sit down there at night. A lot of people didn't like walking their dogs or with their families down there late. Yeah. So this, namely GeneLeay Mall, where the lagoon was, has been brought up to street level. So now when you drive by, instead of seeing down into a cavern, it's just straight across, which eventually will have a playground right there. It's going to have a performance pavilion smack in the middle of it. And then it's going to have a sculpture garden with like fire pits and
that's awesome.
Local art for folks to enjoy, and a dog park, water features you can play in, and the slides have been preserved, which we get a lot of questions about. People are very protective of those slides.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to bring that up.
J2, I knew, yes, because the slides they're cherished by folks, and
they weren't that fun though. Like it was, because
have you taken some wax paper down there?
No,
because that's when things really get interesting.
Right, I haven't, because last time I went, I had like running shorts on, and I like stopped halfway down.
Yeah, that sounds
not fun. But so it's wax paper.
You got to take wax paper, and then you just like sit your butt on it and
zoom.
Flight on the.
You know what's funny is
fly into people that are waiting at the bottom usually. Yeah.
Yeah, those slides, those big metal slides. They used to have the same thing at Lenoma Beach. One of those great big metal slides that you would go down, but you had to take a bucket of water up with you, because if you didn't, not only it helped you go faster, but the metal was so flippin' hot.
Sounds like a design flaw for a beach.
Totally is, right? Who would ever think to put that on a beach?
Oh my God. Yeah, it was so hot. And I remember going down that slide, but you still went down it. And then, and keep your hands to yourself, because on the sides, there were like rivets that you could cut your finger on. I remember that. It's just, oh my God. Total walking violation.
Mm-hmm. You're awfully brave to even venture. So you're describing a hot metal slide with shards on either side. It sounds like a blast, honestly.
On a lake that's riddled with bacteria. So if you do get cut,
you cut yourself open, suddenly you have a whole host of unnamed diseases.
Burn your ass on the hot metal, you're going to get staph infection as soon as you get into the water.
Yeah.
I think it costs extra too. I'm not sure. No, I kid.
Probably.
They even charge you to go on the slide of, danger?
You had to pay to get in the beach. I'll say that.
So when's the GeneLeay Mall? Is it going to be called the GeneLeay Mall still?
Yes.
And when's it going to be done, you think? Target date?
So GeneLeay Mall, so all the parks keep their names because they were city named names.
Okay.
And but they exist like at the riverfront. So GeneLeay Mall at the riverfront, Heartland of America Park at the riverfront. GeneLeay Mall reopens in 2022.
Oh.
So even by this summer, I think we're going to start seeing trees go in there. I think we're going to start seeing landscaping go in there. But really, they won't be well and established until almost kind of wintertime sets in. So instead of having people come in and see, struggling landscape or potentially stomp all over things that are trying to get established, we just thought probably by the time it warms up in 2022 would be the best time to let folks back in. And when it reopens, we're planning to have it already activated on day one. So we're talking concerts, we're talking demonstrations, cultural events and activities, educational opportunities. And it'll be the same with Heartland and Lewis and Clark Landing. But those open later, both in 2023.
So what's changing in Heartland of America Park? So
Heartland had Conagra Lake, which still is there, but it's been reduced in size and brought up to grade instead of also being slopey. It'll have a vast event lawn for things like if you picture like a M.E.C.A or something like that, a large music festival could easily go in there and we'll have the infrastructure to be able to support it.
That'll be cool.
It'll be really cool with the river as a backdrop.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be really incredible. Also at Heartland, we're putting in a skate ribbon, which is really neat. I've learned a lot about that just even in the past few months where it's inline skating or roller skating when it's warm out, and it transforms into ice skating when it's cold. So they had these these glycol lines in them that kick on and create kind of the ice surface that has a track that goes around it that's I think just shy of a football field in size. And then it has, so within the track, if you picture almost like a figure eight, there's little like gathering spaces of ice in between some of the loops that you can do more traditional skating. So
how awesome is that?
That's so cool.
It's going to be so neat.
Yeah, that is so cool.
There'll be skate rentals, all of that stuff. Botanical gardens, which is going to be really neat too. And also we're putting in what's going to be called the Farnham Pier, which is going to be a really iconic piece of the project too, where you get to see not only over to the, over the river banks, but it'll have really cool design, and it's just going to be really transformative for downtown Omaha.
I had no idea that stuff was going on. I didn't know that Heartland of America Park was being transformed. I thought it was just GeneLeay Mall.
No, and Lewis and Clark Landing.
And Lewis and Clark Landing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the interconnection between the three will be improved too.
I think when we were talking at coffee, you were talking about looking out your window, waiting for it all to happen, because you could see where they were doing construction. Of course, there's always a little mess that goes along with it, and watching the mud turn into something.
Yeah, you're right. There's, to JT's point, it's GeneLeay Mall is the most centrally located of the three parks, right? Because you have sky rises on either side that look down into it and wonder what the heck's going on all the time. So they've really got a front row seat to the transformation, which is now kind of a snowy, muddy pit, but eventually will be something really cool. Yeah. And the people downtown have been so patient. I just, there's times where we have pile driving going on to put in the performance pavilion, trucks coming and going, and everybody's been really happy to be along for the ride. So we're
I didn't even
fortunate.
think about those people down there that live down there.
Work.
Yeah.
Lesser people working because of a lot of people working from home, but they get to see it happen every single day. So we have some loyal fans too, which has been fun. Or if they see something that they have questions about, they also let us know. So
I'm sure they do.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome though. And you live, you said, in the Exarban area.
Yeah.
And it's that area too. I mean, honestly, that took a long time for a lot of people making that transition from what Exarban was to what it is now. Yeah. And I think more and more people now are accepting of it. And it's just it's a fun spot to be in. It'd be so nice when things all get back opened up again.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Yeah. That Exarban Village is really an incredible amenity too. Just seeing how that, and it's funny, it feels like it went up overnight, even though I know it didn't. But now I can't even remember what the area looked like. It's just it's always been like this great activatable space, it seems. And people are happy to have it. So I think we'll have a lot
Which I might mention too. You're from Omaha, and I don't know, as far as that most people knew that. I mean, this is your home.
Yeah, it's true. And I'm passionate about, I guess, promoting Omaha. And I know people probably say that, but truly there's so much great potential in this city, great talent. And I just think that the transformation of downtown is really going to showcase that. So, and with the stuff going on at the arena and convention center and the ballpark, I think is just stuff that when you say is happening in Omaha, you have a lot of people from out of town kind of scratch their heads and say, well, I didn't know that was going on in Omaha, which I think is one of my favorite things to be able to say and promote and to surprise people with.
I love people when they say, when their reaction of why Omaha, like really Omaha? I just love that when somebody nationally are like, they wonder why the swim trials come here. They wonder why the College World Series is here forever. They wonder why all these, these concert tours kick off here. It's I love when we can bring them to town and they are kind of shocked.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they
oh my
obviously
gosh.
haven't been to any of these events then.
Right.
Because then they'd understand.
Exactly.
Exactly. And speaking of that College World Series, we'd kind of talked on that before, but I know that's a favorite of Pat's.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's coming back.
It's coming back. We're planning on it, I should say. Of course, you know, I guess if there's one thing that recent events have taught us is everything's kind of fluid, isn't it?
Right.
So, yeah, we're planning on it. We're hopeful. What exactly it's going to look like, probably a little different than years past, but how that's going to be, we're still working out. But I guess I feel at least hopeful or optimistic now that we're in the year that we are and staring a few months down the line and still have our fingers crossed that we can make it happen.
Yeah, that's good. It's a big thing.
Definitely.
The fact that we didn't have it last year was a huge.
Felt so strange.
Right?
Yeah.
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 I didn't
Exactly.
usually, like every College World Series, I consume at least, 5 pounds of nacho cheese. And
Right?
I didn't get that done
So
last
you were way
year.
under your quota from last year for
so
nacho cheese.
My arteries are like, what's happening?
Yeah, what is going on?
I feel good.
I need more processed crap.
You usually have, an accompanying 5 pounds of corn chips.
What is going
happening?
on?
Yeah. So, the queso at the ballpark is so good.
I don't think I've ever had the queso at the ballpark.
Oh my gosh, you're missing out.
It's not my go-to. Like at a ballpark, to me, during like the summer, hot nacho cheese isn't my jam.
Oh, it's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
All the time.
Just doesn't have to. Yeah, whatever.
I do consider myself somewhat of a queso expert, and
So then do you
ranks up there.
like the squirt cheese from the tube? From the
No.
It's the same stuff. Christy, it's the same stuff. Don't look at me all judgy. It's the exact same crap.
Suddenly I'm understanding why your wife wants to show you
Where the murder holes are.
the overpass.
Oh my gosh.
When you have opinions that are so wrong. Yeah, but to each their own. You're wrong on this, but
The
I
same
understand.
garbage.
It's not okay. So your favorite queso, making homemade cheese dip. What's your recipe?
Oh, well, I mean, I appreciate that you think I'm fancy enough to have a recipe and that I don't just throw Velveeta in a crock pot and act like
That's
I am.
what I do.
Yeah, that I'm
That's
Chef
exactly
Ina.
what-
Yeah, no.
Do Rotels or just salsa?
I'll do a Rotel.
Okay. That's a recipe.
You gotta
Two
give
ingredients
people-
is a recipe.
Okay,
That's a
fair.
recipe.
Suddenly I feel very vindicated in
Yeah.
in my nacho making.
Peanut butter and jelly is a recipe.
That's true. Now, can I also finish set of crock pot of cheese? Yes. By myself? Also yes.
Yes. Also, yes. One that
No problem.
Velveeta with Rotels is it's the absolute best.
I don't know what it is about it. But
I don't either.
There's something that it's a perfect combination of things. Do
Yeah.
you think they conspired to make such a perfect recipe, or did someone stumble
Yeah.
upon it?
I think they did. Yeah,
I
because
think this-
It's a show.
isn't there on the back of the Velveeta? Isn't it like there's a recipe for it? Doesn't it say Rotels on it?
I think it does.
Yeah.
Even with like the little trademark name brand.
Yeah. So it was a partnership.
They're
evil
like, don't
partnership.
get the knockoff Rotel.
But the upgrade, like just regular whatever round tortilla chips is great, but the upgrade is the hint of lime chips dipped in there.
Oh, those are great.
Game freaking
Yeah.
changing. But not even the hint of lime name brand, the Hy-Vee brand. There's more. It's not quite a hint of lime. It's an actual like straight up telling you there's lime on there. No hints. It's all
They
over
just
it.
crack open the bag,
Yes.
squeeze the lime,
Oh,
like,
it's
take this.
It's like
Yeah.
that delicious green salt that's on that is the hint of lime.
Oh, yes.
It's all over those Hy-Vee brand chips. It's great.
The Hy-Vee brand chips are really kind of a revolution too.
Right.
Also,
Underrated.
Velveeta has a what? I hope you weren't just hoping to talk about like M.E.C.A events. As I'm like, can we please
wanna
have
talk
a
about
very
cheese.
can we please have a very involved conversation about queso? Velveeta has a white cheddar, I think, queso or something like that. I'm sure that
Yes.
I'm messing the name up, but
Blanco.
Thank you, JT.
So good.
Changed my life, honestly.
Oh, and I
Got
love
me through not having a College World Series.
how we are not all. I'm on my way to 300 pounds. I have no idea. I'm working really hard on it. I love the side inside the crock pot too, like when some of the cheese kind of hardens on the side and scrape it off with the chip, like
not
a
above
little
it.
plow, little cheese plow.
That's nice to be using a chip. Oh
my God.
I've used a spoon before. Not gonna lie.
Oh my God. Might as well get the spatula
I feel like
out.
that's a more effective means of removing that. So I don't fault that.
All right, so now I'm starving.
Oh my God.
Kristyna, we're excited that you came out here. Thank you for coming on our podcast. We appreciate it. And when we get rolling, get closer to some of these bigger events, we'd love to have you back out.
That would be great. And I
Because
will
we
be,
need to we want to talk about more cheese dip.
I was going to say, I'll be happy to talk about something other than cheese dip if that is your desire, or I'm very good at cheese dip too. But yeah, thank you for having me. And certainly, I think we're looking forward to making some really significant and exciting announcements here in the coming months for, the summer concert schedule. So just stay tuned, and we're hopeful that that things will be looking up.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And it's just great. My power hasn't gone out.
You called it, JT. Yeah, you knew it wouldn't.
That's a perfect way to end our Ride and Dirty podcast.
Such BS.
Such BS. All right. Well, thanks again, Kristyna.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. You guys can text us any questions you have at 402-403-9478. Thanks for listening to our podcast.
Podcast, a Hurrdat Media Production.